Good afternoon. This is Dr. McDaniel at GYN Corner. I'm a board-certified obstetrician gynecologist in New York City, Midtown Manhattan, and I'm bringing to you all things health-related for women. So let's see. Today is Thursday, October 3rd, and I guess I jinxed the tri-state area yesterday because I was so excited. It was 93 degrees, hazy, hot, and humid, which is perfect weather for me. And now today we have overcast. It's been drizzling and raining most of the day. My window's up that way. And I don't exactly know the temperature, but I think it's lower 70s to upper 60s. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It is fall, so we're due a bit of gray and windy weather, and that's exactly what we're getting today. So let's see. As I stated on the title for today's presentation, I'm talking about vulvar fissures, and I came up with this topic because I had a patient last week who I told her she had a fissure, and she really kind of flipped out. She didn't know what it was. She started getting emotional and scared it was cancer or a herpes outbreak or something. So I realized a lot of people don't know what fissures are. So quite often, I'm going to say maybe once to twice a day, I'll have someone who comes in, and in the course of describing what their ailment is or what problems, signs, and symptoms they're having, they'll say that they feel like they have paper cuts, burning, itching, and paper cuts. Fissures are predominantly responsible for the paper cut feeling. And burning, swelling, and itching, those are all signs of an a reactive inflammatory response. So quite often, if someone has a constant wetness on the skin, either predominantly it's going to be due to a vaginal discharge or liquid, but it can also be due to frequent urination or leaking of urine, or someone sweats a lot, they have a lot of layers, or they sweat easily, or it's in the summer, it's hard for them to avoid sweating a lot, or also women who have diarrhea, frequent stools, loose stools, or anal leakage. That will cause frequent or constant wetness or moisture in the vulvar area or the genital skin. Also, women who have frequent cycles, or they have long cycles. Some women have 8 to 10 day cycles, or they have frequent spotting, so they're wearing peri pads or liners a lot, keeping moisture and sweat on the vulvar skin. So everywhere your bottom would touch the saddle of a horse, we call it the saddle area. So that perineum or that saddle area is constantly or frequently wet due to one or more factors. That's going to mount an inflammatory response because the skin is supposed to be cool, clean, and dry. If it's frequently or often or constantly wet, moist, dank, the body is going to mount a reaction to that. And it's a protective reaction because constantly wet, moist, dank skin can break down the skin tissues. It can cause like an ulceration or a bed sore type of response. So the body it's kind of like if you're sitting in the tub for a week straight, your skin's going to become macerated and it can potentially fall off or ulcerated. So the body mounts an inflammatory response to that in order to try to fight that kind of hostile environment. So it tries to protect itself. So it will cause an inflammatory reaction, which will cause the burning, the itching, and then what can also happen is you can get excoriated skin. I call it elephant skin. So the skin gets thickened and kind of discolored, ashen looking, and then it gets dry. Some people come in and say the skin looks flaky and feels dry. That's part of that inflammatory reaction kind of chronology or time change scenario. And what will eventually happen is you'll get paper cuts or cracks in the skin because of the thickened inflammatory changes. Those cracks in the skin are called fissures. And when someone says they have itching, discomfort, or burning and cracks in the skin, I know that the inflammatory environment has been going on for a while. You're not going to get fissures and cracks if it's only been a couple of days. It's usually going to be at least a week to a week and a half, usually 2.5 weeks or more, for all of that inflammatory response to occur and for the manifestations of it to occur. So if someone has fissures or cracks in the vulva, either right the vaginal opening or near the anal opening, but not in the anus, in the skin between the vaginal opening and the anus, we call it the perineal body. I know, as we say colloquially or on the street, some people call it the taint. So it taint the vaginal opening, it taint the anus, it's the in-between area. So medically it's called the perineal body. So the perineal body or the taint, a lot of cracks or fissures will occur, and especially at the vaginal opening, at the introitus, usually on one side or the other, there will be little cracks or paper cuts. Those are fissures. Sometimes up in the inner lips of the vagina, what we call the labia minora, those inner lips will get dry, cracked, and they'll have fissures there also. So fissures are not sexual infections. They're not health issues. They're your body's defense mechanism, not really defense mechanism, but it's evidence of your body's defense mechanism or response to a chronic inflammatory irritant. And that irritant could be either discharge, sweat, moisture, urine, stool, blood, any kind of chronic constant wetness that's been at least on average a week and a half to 2 weeks is going to be usually the kind of the minimum time frame. So that's what vulvar fissures are. That's what causes them. And then I'll come back to at the next presentation and I'll talk about the management or the treatment of vulvar fissures. So I hope that's been helpful information. This is Dr. McDaniel at GYN Corner. Please check out the YouTube channel. It's also called GYN Corner. Please click the follow button and click the subscribe buttons on both the Facebook and the YouTube channel. And check out the podcast. We're on 8 different platforms. Most popular, of course, are the Apple iTunes, the Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And if you're in the area, come on by the office. We're here in Midtown Manhattan. The website for the office is called midtowngyn.com. And we have walk-in hours every day. Just call in the morning for the walk-in hours. And you can come on by with any concerns, problems, questions. Please place a review on the Apple iTunes just to let others know what you enjoy about the channel. And please hit me up with questions or topics for presentations, for content, please. I'd love to present what everyone wants to hear, not just what I think people want to hear or know, but what people really want to hear. So thanks again for joining me here at GYN Corner. Have a great rest of your Thursday. And guess what? Tomorrow is my favorite day of the week. My favorite day of the week is Friday. It's full of promise. So have a great rest of the evening. Be back at the next presentation. Bye.